Hello and welcome to a new vlog. It is Friday afternoon. I just finished my work day. I'm doing some painting for a different video right now, but I wanted to get a little introduction going for this next reading vlog, which will be reading 3 of my must-read books for 2023. And the first book I'm going to be reading is I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jennette McCurdy. You may know her from iCarly, and this is her memoir. And I started it the other night. I'm about 75 pages in, 50 pages in. And I've heard a lot of things about this book. I know that there's a lot of... Oh, I'm only on page 26. I have heard a lot of things about this book. That's why I'm reading it. And so far, I like her writing style. Obviously, this is a very personal book with a lot of trigger warnings, and it's dealing with her relationship with her abusive mother and also being a child actor in Hollywood. So I'm excited to dive more into this. I know it's going to be a bit of a heavier book, so hopefully my other 2 books in this vlog are a little less heavy, but I'm looking forward to continuing to read this. Alright, I will see you in the next clip. Hello! I just wanted to do a quick reading update because I am about halfway through Jennette McCurdy's memoir, and I wanted to give a little update on it because this is one of my must-read books of the year and I have some feelings about it. It is full of trigger warnings so far. There have already been a handful, but also like this is her real life, and so it is hard to like critique how she's writing about it in any way. I do think something that she's doing very well is writing about things that happened in her past from the perspective of how she was feeling about them as a child. Like, it makes it clear like how young she was when some of these things were happening, and so you really get into her mindset and like what that was like. And so it's an interesting, it's hard but also good. So, and it's hard too knowing that like we were like, at least I was watching iCarly like when a lot of this stuff was happening, and like you just have no idea like what people are going through. And I don't know if I could ever watch shows knowing things now, or watch content knowing what I know now about them, because it kind of puts a filter over it where you can't, it takes the filter off where you see it for what it really is. I'm hoping to finish this either tonight or tomorrow, and then I'll move on to another book from my must-read list. But yeah, just wanted to check in. I just wanted to chat for a little bit because last night I finished I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jennette McCurdy. This book is very raw and honest and painful at times. I mean, painful for most of it. And I think part of the reason like it's so important is because she is not done with her healing journey. Like, she deals with a lot of different things in this book, from addiction, childhood abuse, and eating disorders. So this book is published still while she's very much in the thick of all of that, and I think that is hard to read because as readers and people who read fiction, like, we want a happy ending, and at least we want there to be like a finished arc, or like a finished character arc or something, but this is a real person's life, and she is young, and so she's still going through all of these things, and so you do kind of get the sense that she's on the upward swing, and that, at the end, the last chapter is very much her kind of reflecting on what she has learned and what she has come to understand about herself and her upbringing. But, you know, it is still a real person dealing with real issues, and I don't know if it was funny. A lot of these blurbs say that she's funny, but I think that she is just herself and tells the story how it is. It's very honest, it's very painful, but she writes it from the perspective of what she knows best and what she knew, what the tools that she had as a child or in the situation, which to us or to other people might seem funny because it doesn't really fit the scenario, but I don't know. I definitely recommend reading this book. It does deal with a lot of really tough topics, so take care of yourselves if you try to read this. But yeah, I'm really glad I read this, and this will check off one of my must-read books for the year, and on to the next. I think I'm gonna get a little bit of whiplash and read Carrie, Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins-Reid. I have seen some mixed reviews, so I'm not sure how I'm gonna feel about this one, but stay tuned and we'll find out.
His soul had become ugly. The soul.
All right. Today, I just wanted to chat with my new microphone. I hope that this audio is nice and crisp for you. I just wanted to chat because yesterday I finished Carrie, Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins-Reid, and I didn't really like it. I thought it was just okay. It didn't really do a whole lot for me. I think that the characters were written very one-dimensionally. A lot of the plot was predictable, and to be honest, not a lot even happened in the plot, which is kind of disappointing because I don't know, I think because Evelyn Hugo and Daisy Jones have such complicated characters dealing with complicated lives and impossible situations that this premise just didn't seem like I cared about it at all. It didn't really live up to that. It didn't really live up to those, and so I felt the same way about Malibu Rising. So maybe this is my time to take Taylor Jenkins-Reid on a little hiatus because her books have just not been doing it for me. I have heard that her backlist is pretty interesting, so I might get to those books. But yeah, I'm gonna give this book a 2.5 out of 5 stars, which is disappointing because it is one of my books I wanted to read the most this year, and it really was just kind of a letdown. So yeah, I am gonna put this aside and we can talk about my next book, which is one of my must-read books for 2023, and that is The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin. N.K. Jemisin is a very prolific science fiction and fantasy writer. Here she is on the inside cover. I have read her book 100,000 Kingdoms a couple years ago, and I have Fifth Season, which is the Broken Earth series, but I have not gotten into it yet. So this is her urban fantasy book. It came out a couple of years ago. This book came out in 2020, and it is about a New York City, and I think it's about AI, and the boroughs have their own identity. So I've heard really good things about it. It is a duology, so if this goes well, I will pick up the second one. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into this one. Good morning. Some things you might notice have changed. I gave myself bangs and it is spring now. I have been in a bit of a reading slump, and I think part of that is because of my writing challenge. I think forcing myself to do something every single day was great in theory, but it kind of burned me out. I got kind of burnt out, and I talk about that in the video. I will link it below or in the cards up here. And I haven't been reading ever since I finished Carrie Soto is Back. I was also super disappointed by that book, so I think that it kind of let me down. I tried to start a new audiobook, and I had to return it to the library before I could finish it because I didn't finish it within the rental time. And yeah, I've just been in a bit of a reading slump, but I do want to talk about how far I've gotten into The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin, because I have read about 80 pages so far, and I'm really liking it. I'm on chapter 3, which is not a whole lot, but I'm excited to keep reading it, and maybe filming this will give me the motivation to keep reading. So what I've come to understand so far is that in this world, cities are alive. All kinds of cities around the world, they are alive, and there is some kind of evil force that is trying to attack the cities and destroy them. It starts a little disjointed, and so I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about it because the opening prologue is a little stream of consciousness, but once we get into the proper story, it's a little bit more easier to follow. So far, we know that we have a main character named Manny, and he has no memory of what happened before he woke up on the train, and he can kind of feel and see these happenings, this evil force, this creature beast, we're not totally sure what it is yet. He can see and feel what's happening to the city, whereas other people around him can't really tell. And he can also fight back. He can react through the city against these forces, beasts, creatures, we're not totally sure yet. And I'm really liking that aspect of it, and what we're coming to understand is that the city can become alive and become personified through people. So Manny is the personification of Manhattan, and so for New York City, we're coming to understand that there's five boroughs, and so that will become 5 personifications of the city. And so you can kind of see, I like the map that it has. It's very handwritten and detailed. But yeah, that's what I found so far up to page 87. So I'm really hoping that I can continue to read this and get more out of it because I am really liking it. And this is one of my must-read books for 2023. So I'm hoping I can round out this video with a solid 5-star book, considering the last book was a bit of a disappointment. So yeah, stay tuned. I will check back in when I have another update. So our Wi-Fi is down currently, which means I'm not able to do work right now. We'll see how long this lasts. Last time it was down for like an hour. And so I'm gonna sit and see if I can get a little bit of reading done in that time. Let's do this. Okay, this is better. All right, I have a reading update for you because I did some reading last night. Move that out of the way a little bit, but I actually got quite a bit of reading done. I am now on chapter 7, and I've read almost 200 pages. I'm on page about 173. I'm using my bookmarks that I'd signed, and I have some more thoughts. We're slowly meeting all of the characters in the story and their identities as the boroughs and parts of the city that they represent. There has been some hinting that there is one personification, or they're calling them avatars, that there's one avatar that represents the whole of New York, and then 5 for the 5 boroughs. And we've only met 4 of the 5 boroughs so far, and we're getting to learn a little bit more about the evil force. It has tried to communicate with some of the boroughs and infiltrate them, but we're not totally sure what's going on. It has gotten exciting. The way N.K. Jemisin writes characters is really cool. Like, you don't get a in-depth backstory, but you can get the essence of who they are with drops like tidbits of who the characters are in a short span of time, but without going too in-depth, which I feel like is pretty accurate as to like how life is when you're meeting new people. Like, you get little tidbits here and there that give you an idea of what the person is like without the person like giving you their entire life story, which I really like. And yeah, it's actually flying by quite quickly. I was kind of surprised. Like, I'm only on chapter 7, but there's been some like interludes with other chapters. I'm still curious to see like how this prologue with the prologue is written in the first person and all the other chapters are written in the third person. So I'm curious to see who this stream of consciousness first person character from the monologue is. I don't know if that's the avatar for New York or if it's a different character or what. My hair is not cooperating. Don't mind me. But yeah, so it is really nice out today. It feels like summer is finally coming, or at least spring is coming. The leaves are starting to come back on some of the trees. But I'm gonna go sit outside and read some more of my book. And I will talk to you when I have another update. Hello! It has been a little while since I've given you a reading update, so I thought I would do that now. I have read quite a bit more of The City We Became, and things are definitely escalating. We've met all 5 of our avatars, and we know who the 6th avatar is. We're still in the process of trying to get all of the avatars together, and so we've learned that bringing them all together will help combine their forces when fighting this evil. We've learned a little bit more about the evil and we've seen it acting a little bit more, which is nice, but things are not happening as quickly as I thought they would be, so I definitely feel like I'm going to need to read the second book like immediately as soon as I finish this one, so I might have to order that so that it is here by the time I finish it, but we'll see. The pacing is still good. I still feel like we're getting a lot of information and a lot is happening. There's a lot of story to tell, and because there are like 5, technically 6 main characters, it is taking a while to get through all of the story beats. But yeah, I'm really liking it. I'm glad that I'm reading this book. I really didn't want it to go to waste, as in I put it off because I was hyping it up in my head. So, all right, I will check back in when I have read some more. Okay, I just needed to check in and chat for the end of this video because last night I finished The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin. I really liked it. I'm gonna give it 4.5 out of 5 stars. I think that this really showcases how strong N.K. Jemisin's writing is, just the level of detail we get with the characters, but also the extent of the plot. There were a few like science-y things that kind of went over my head with like multiverses and things, but overall I think that didn't stop me from enjoying it, which in other science fiction books that has stopped me from really enjoying the book itself, is the science-y stuff, the things that I don't really understand. I do think that this is really a love letter to New York City, and I can really tell like what an homage this is to the city and also to all cities that people have connections to around the world. It's a very easy read. The only thing I knocked half a star off of for was because I felt like the ending was a little short. The lead up to this story felt much more drawn out, and the ending happened in a matter of 5 pages, where I thought that it was going to be much more drawn out over time. But this is the first book in a trilogy, actually. I, for some reason, thought it was a duology because I know the second book is out. So I have high hopes. I'm definitely going to keep reading the series, and I hope that it continues to go well. I mean, I have faith in N.K. Jemisin. She's amazing. So I'm intrigued to see how the later books are going to go, how the world is going to expand or get more complex, because I think that is really going to make this series interesting. All right, and with that, we come to the end of my reading 3 of my must-read books for 2023 reading vlog. If you like content like this, be sure to subscribe and give this video a like so that I know what sort of content you all enjoy seeing. If you'd like to see more of my art, you can follow me on Instagram at @thecozyartist, and I will see you in my next video. All right, have a good day. Bye.